I'm Bill Dahlman. I'm not a librarian, but I am your instructor. I'm a volunteer here at the library, and I have been for about 8 years teaching various technology classes, Word classes, Excel classes, PowerPoint classes. So welcome to the class. Glad that you are here. We're going to go over some Word intermediate skills. And because normally when I'm in this class in the library, I have interaction, so I know what people want to achieve. If you would be so kind, participants, if you would just please type in the chat box what you are hoping to achieve and give me some idea of your skill level. Just say, hey, I'm an intermediate person and I just really want to go over some fonts, or I'm brand new and I just want to see what it's about. We're just going to take a couple minutes, type into the chat box so I have some idea of what you would like to achieve before we get started. And while you're doing that, I will share my screen in terms of what the lesson plan is, so that if I don't see what you've typed in, Beth, if you could please let me know what they said, I would appreciate that.
Yep, I'd be happy to do that.
Great, thank you, appreciate that. So as you are typing in what you would hope to cover, so a little bit about myself. 23 years here in Glen Ellen with my lovely wife, Lucy. 3 kids, they all grew up here, went to Ben Franklin, went to Hadley, went to Glenbard West. Now they're all fled the nest and they're all on their own. We're all surviving COVID. Started out my career as a U.S. Army officer. I entered about the time when the Berlin Wall was coming down, and our eldest son, I'm a 4th generation U.S. Army officer, and our eldest son is 5th generation. So that being, and then various career and technology path, actually in technology learning as well. And so I'm excited to be teaching you some skills on the Word side. Now it says Word 2016, but just know that the various editions of Microsoft Word, they share commonalities. So whether you are using the Microsoft Word version that comes with Office 365, or whether you're coming with a previous version such as Word 2010 or the most current version of 2019, they all pretty much share the same common characteristics. We're going to go over what the functions, the format functions of the Home tab. We're going to go over inserting page breaks. We're going to go how do you customize and reuse document design, some design tab. If you're working with 2019, Microsoft Word 2019, you'll see that there's not a design tab anymore. But we're using basically this type of format. We're going to go through tables. You have the ability to build a table right in there. You can also insert an Excel table. How to share documents. A lot of people like this aspect of adding graphics and visual elements. That's always a fun one to do. Print preview is very key so that you're not killing trees and wasting paper. It's a tremendous function that we're going to go through at the end. All right, so that being said, has anyone chatted?
We do have one person who has chatted in, says he's an intermediate Word user, wants to become more proficient, would also like to know what it means when he receives the message not responding for MS Word or Excel.
Huh. Oh, Arnold, is this the Arnold? Well, if it's you, Arnold, I'm glad to have you back in class. Also would like to know what it means when I've received not responding. Huh. Yeah, you might have stumped me on that one, Arnold. I don't immediately know the answer to that.
Unless, is there any possibility that he's working inside of Word inside of an Office 365, so it's cloud-based? and maybe his internet connection got interrupted.
That could be.
Yes.
That could be. That's best guessed as any. No, it's not. Okay. Well, we might have to have an actual dialogue to help you with that, Arnold, because that does not immediately come to mind. Like stumping me first thing. All right. Well, let's get started. Beth, has everyone received our template that we're using today?
Unfortunately, no. The way that the webinars are set up, we have no idea who's going to be coming to the program or not. In the old system, people would register and we would have emails, and so we could contact them before the class. But the way webinars are set up, we have no idea who's showing up and who's not, so we have no way of getting them handouts beforehand.
All right, good. Thank you. Appreciate that. So, folks, this is the handout. I will be doing my demonstrations. Well, I'll show you how I do it. You can. We have a teaching document that we use, so we're going to go up to File. And if you wanted to use your keystrokes, because I also like to identify that, it's Control-O, Control Oscar, Control Open, and it's the intermediate handout. No, wrong one. It is the What Can I Do with These Voice Activation Speakers? All right, so this is our demo document that we're going to be using for today's class.
Those of you seeing the document, we're still seeing the handout. I think you might have to unshare and then reshare your screen again.
Okay, I wonder if I can just share my desktop. I'm going to stop sharing and see if I can just share my desktop. Nope. Okay, then I am going to go. All right, so this is what we'll do. The first part, we're just going to review the format functions in the Home tab. So if you go up to this Home tab, you'll see that there's a lot of different format functions up here. So I'm going to open our demo document, and I'm going to start manipulating things from there, purely from this initial tab. Stop sharing, reshare. Okay, so now here's the demo document we're going to be using. I always like to point out that all the Microsoft features are pretty much the same across this top row. To include the file and the home, those are also. You'll also notice that I've got a small layout here because I minimize my ribbons. But just by going up here next to my name, this little tiny icon here that has the up arrow, it'll bring up my ribbon display options. So then I can show all my tabs and commands. So this might be what you're more accustomed to seeing. So in the Home tab, you'll see that you have anything from paste, cut, copy, and paste, format painter. We'll cover that briefly. The format functions of being able to change the fonts, the font size, bold, italic, underline. If you're a lawyer, you can strike through, or if you're sharing documents. If you're a scientist, you can do subscript and superscript. You also have the ability to put outlines, text. You can highlight. You can change the font color. And let's say you've done a bunch of changes to the fonts, or you receive a document and you receive something and you cut and paste this into the document you want to create, but you don't like the font effects that it has. Well, you can easily just clear all formatting. We'll also go a little bit over what you can do with the paragraphs and the various styles. So whenever you want to manipulate any text, you first have to highlight that text. So you bring your mouse over to that section, click there, you'll see that my cursor is already there between the V of voice, and I can either click and hold down, or you can hold down the Shift key and use the arrow keys, which I'm doing now, to highlight all that text. So again, you first have to highlight the text that you want to manipulate. Once you've highlighted that text, then you can manipulate using these various features up in the Home tab. You can either do it directly up here, or they also have a mini tab that's available. If you right-click in the area that you have highlighted, you'll see you've got a mini selection of what's available in the Home tab. Again, you'll see the different font types, bold, italic, underline, cut, copy, paste. So it's a quick way to do it if you're familiar with it and if it's just a quick thing that you want to do. But let's just show some of the features. So you can easily switch the font size. The great things about these later versions of Word is as soon as you highlight over it, it shows you what it'll be. Whereas previous editions of Word, it did not allow for that. So let's go down. There's a whole variety. I was always partial to Times New Roman. So let's just go down to Times New Roman. Times New Roman. So there we are. And then you can change the font size. It's currently at 11. You can manipulate that and make it bigger. So we're going to make this initially bigger at 14. These are quick ways to increase or decrease the font size. Instead of using the actual numbers, you just want to get a better feel of it. You can just click on these increase or decrease. It's a quicker way to increase or decrease the font size. Using the bold, you can click on bold. Again, I love the way that it also highlights the keystrokes. So if you're a keystroke person, you can just go Control B. Control I is italics, underline, etc. If you want to highlight the text, you have any number of colors that you can choose from. The standard ones are up here. We'll just go with the traditional yellow. And if you also want to get fancy and manipulate the text color, you can do that as well. So you can change the font color. This is the one that really gives you a wide variety of colors. You have these standard colors that are available to you, theme colors, standard colors, but if you want more colors, get really crazy, you can just bring out this paintbrush here and it'll see what the current is, what the new is. You click on OK. Oh, I didn't have it highlighted. I'm going to highlight it again. Format, recent colors. All right, so then you'll see that and you're like, huh, I don't really like that too much. That's a little too light for that background. So we always have right up here, undo. The undo button will be your friend. You can undo the last task just by clicking it, or you can also click the drop down and it'll show you all the different things that you have done recently and take it back to any number. I'm just going to undo the text fill. Again, I would just like to point out that if you copy and paste something in and you don't like it, you can just use the clear all formatting function and it brings it back to the way it initially was. Some people like to do at the beginning of a document, instead of having it left justifies, you can switch the justification. So you'll see that it's left justified currently. You can now center justify it. You can right justify it. And this one center justifies it, so it tries to spread it all out. You also have the ability right up here to adjust the styles. The normal style is currently identified, but you can just click and see how these various styles affect what you have going on. and you can choose them as appropriate. I'm going back to the initial normal one. Sometimes you're working with a document, and let's say it was originally designed for the village of Lombard, but you want it to be for Glen Ellen. Well, you have the ability in the editing by replacing all of those. Let's say you first want to find where the word showed up. As you'll see that Alexa shows up frequently here. So if we want to find, if we didn't know initially where it showed up, we could just click on Find. No. Just not trying to highlight anything. I just want to find out where Alexa, and you'll see I typed in Alexa, and now it's showing all the places where it shows the word Alexa shows up. So it's very easy if you want to switch just a single word throughout an entire document. And if you then don't want to manually make those changes yourself, you can just replace it. You can replace it. So anytime you see Alexa, I'm going to replace it with Cortana. And you have the ability to find next, replace all. Generally in a document, you'll want to replace all. So we're just going to click replace all. All done. We've made 14 replacements. So now you'll see in the document, it's showing all the places where it originally showed Cortana, Alexa, including this first one, and now it's showing Cortana. But if we don't like that for whatever reason, again, we're just going to use the undo button, and brings us back to Alexa. So those are the big highlights of the Home tab. Let me see if there's any chats. Let me see if there's any comments regarding. Okay, no comments. So we're going to go into the Insert tab. Let's go back to our document, our teaching document. So now we've reviewed the functions on the Reviewing the Format functions from the Home tab. Now we're going to Inserting Page Breaks. Inserting page breaks can be very useful when you're working on a long document and then you see how it eventually turns out and you don't like the run-on sentences. So let's say let's say for whatever reason you want to put a page break right here because you want this to be a separate page from the stuff that is down here. All you simply do, put your cursor where you want that page break to be. So you see that blinking cursor. You go up to Insert, and you go to Page Break. So as you can see, a page break has been inserted. And the way you can always check that, and I'm going to give you some advanced stuff, is let's just see what it looks like in Print Preview. So Print Preview, with the current versions of Word, you just go to the print function. You can go to the print by going to File, Print, or hitting the keystrokes Control P. File, Print. It brings you to the preview page. So as you'll see now that we're on page 2 of 2, and previously it's 1 of 2. So you'll see that the page break took. We don't want to print it yet, so we're just going to go back. I know some of you, we're going to get to inserting pictures a little bit later. Some people find it useful to insert a blank page, because let's say you might want to insert a blank page because you're going to cut and paste some document or some part of a document from somewhere else. Well, you simply just insert blank page. And again, now you've got a blank page between those. And how can we check? We're going to go to File, Print, and it'll give you a print preview. So now we're on page 1 of 3. Click the arrow down here. Now we see that we got that blank page is the second page. The third page is the rest of the document that we were working on. Now that we've done that, we're just going to undo that. So we're back to a flowing document. And I'm going to undo the page break as well. Again, if there's any comments, anything you want me to cover, put it in the chat window. Let's see what we're going to cover next. I'm going to stop sharing, and we're going to get back to the other document. All right, the next one we're going to cover is custom and reuse document design, right here. This is
I'm going to interrupt for a second. We do have a request. If you could go over clear formatting.
Sure. Clear formatting, you got it. I'm going to stop sharing. Oh, there, I see it now. Go over clear formatting, you got it. Clear formatting, so once you find out where it is, it's very simple. So you'll see that in this first page, we have this formatting highlighted. We no longer want that highlighted like that. So wherever you want to clear the format, you just highlight the area that you want. So I've now highlighted that entire area. You go back up to the Home tab. And right over here that has the A with the little eraser, clear all formatting. Click on that. Click on that. Maybe highlighting is not a format. Huh, looks like I just learned something. Well, let's say we've made it Algerian, we've made it size 20, and we've made it bold. But we don't want it. We just want that back. So it looks like the highlight function does not clear formatting. So we're just going to put no color, but we still have this Algerian size 20 in bold, and we don't want it. So we're going to highlight all of this, and we're going to simply click on the Clear Formatting tab. And then it'll clear all the formatting that was done. Again, I just learned something new, that it does not include highlighting. Okay. So we're going to continue on. Our next was talking about document design. So document design is in the Design tab. You'll see that the current document is highlighted as this first one. This document style set. The great thing about Word is that you can click on these various designs. Oh, this one doesn't really have a title. If you had various titles, if you had headings, it would automatically change it throughout the document. So I think, Beth, for the next one, I can work with you to modify this teaching document so we put in a title, so that we put in a heading, so that we can show how all this changes by manipulating the design.
Definitely we'll do that for the next time.
The other thing is you also have the ability to switch themes. Again, I think we're going to have to put some additional stuff into this. Oh, but look at that. When I clicked on this integral theme, you could see that the text over here changed in appearance. And if we had titles and headers, it would change even more. It also has the ability to change the colors, and they try to use matching colors so that you don't have to worry about stuff like that. But you'll see just by quickly changing the theme, it changes the entire document for you. You also have the ability to browse for different themes if you're hooked up to the web. There's a whole bunch of themes that are available to you. All right, let's see what we need to cover next. Tables. All right, we'll go over tables. So I'm going to stop sharing this, get back to the main document. So tables. So let's say we want to put a table right in here between these two paragraphs. The great thing is that you're able to not only insert the table that you want, and you can designate the number of rows, columns, and you'll see as my cursor is moving up here, you'll see down between these two paragraphs that that table is actually changing real time. You also have the ability, so what I find useful is to, so let's just do this. Let's first set that. So we've inserted a table. But typically when you're working with tables, it's going to be in Excel. So what you also have the ability to do is just insert an Excel spreadsheet. And what this means is that this table up here is static. So you can type in words. But what an Excel spreadsheet does, it gives you the ability to put in formulas. So if you put in 1, 2, different number, then you can actually put in a formula and it'll give you what that total is. So it gives you the full functionality of an Excel spreadsheet. For example, if you put in Monday, what it should do is continue on the days of the week. So again, the full functionality of an Excel spreadsheet. Or if you put in a date and then click and drag from that bottom little cursor down there, you just click and drag over and it populates all those dates for you. Again, the full functionality of Excel, as opposed to when you just insert a table, all you can do is manipulate the text that is there. How about that? Are there any questions along those lines? Again, if I put in these same...
No questions yet.
Okay. Again, if I put that in, it does not give you the functionality of Excel. So a table just allows you to create something that looks like a table, but it does not give you the functionality of Excel. Whereas when you insert an Excel spreadsheet, you have the full functionality of Excel.
We do have a question now. It says, can you change dimensions of cells in a Word table?
Sure. So in a Word table, you have the ability to move it. You also have the ability to, you see when I have that cursor and it changes from a cursor to a single point, and right there, it is two arrows, two horizontal arrows. By clicking that down and then sliding it over, you can then change the dimensions of that cell. Similarly, you can also do the same thing vertically. You find it so it's two vertical arrows, click and drag, and you can change the dimensions of that cell. You also then have the ability to expand or contract the table by clicking and dragging. When you see that cursor point to a diagonal arrow going both ways, from northwest to southeast, as it were, you have the ability to manipulate the size of that. Did that answer your questions?
Yes, it did.
All right, great. Good to hear. All right, so now we've covered inserting tables, both the Excel tables. Similarly with Excel, once you've highlighted that, you have the ability to expand and contract that. Let's see if you can also manipulate the cells. I don't know if I can manipulate the actual cell size. So I take that back when I said full functionality. Oh, okay. When I double clicked it, it opened it up as Excel. And there, once I'm in there, it looks there. I now have the ability to manipulate the cell size. So to get back to manipulate the Excel spreadsheet, you have to double click on it so that it opens up so it looks like an Excel with the borders around it. And then by clicking and dragging between the column headings or clicking and dragging between the rows, you can then adjust and manipulate the height.
We do have another question.
Yep.
Wants to know, can you add more rows or columns after the initial table is selected?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So let's do that. All right. So what I did here is I brought my cursor here to the right side of the table. You'll see right about there, and then I right-clicked. When I right-clicked, it brought up this menu options. Then you can scroll down to insert, and you have the ability to insert columns to the left, columns to the right, insert rows above, insert rows below. Similarly with Excel, you double-click. Yeah, we're getting a little bit too wide here, but you have the similar ability to do that. It was too wide to begin with, so you'd have to do some manipulation there. Let's bring it over to G. You'll see with the Excel spreadsheet, it just keeps on going. So you automatically have that ability just to keep scrolling over. I'm just using my arrow to keep scrolling over. So the word, when you insert the word table, it does not automatically go. You're going to have to add those like we just did. Again, you find it so that that arrow is right there, left and right. Then you can manipulate it. Then you can adjust it, right click, insert, column to the right, and there you go, another column to the right. Similarly, right click, insert, rows below. Okay. Let's see what we're supposed to cover next. And if you have questions, feel free to ask. So we put in tables, sharing documents. So we're just going to go straight from sharing documents to adding graphics and visual elements. Now, when you share a document, a lot of people will just save the document and attach it to an email. You also have the ability to do that right from the Word document itself if your desktop is set up that you already have an automatic email account associated with it. So when I click on share, not only can I send it via a link, but that means I have to have my OneDrive open up for everyone. But most commonly, the way you'll do it is via Outlook. So automatically, it opens up Outlook for me with the link to them. I just have to make sure that they have the ability to share that.
Unfortunately, we can't see your Outlook opening up.
Oh, yeah. Okay, got it. So then when you want, so I've just found it easier to, once you've worked on that document, you save it, and then you just cut and paste it from wherever and attach it to. As you can see here, you have the ability to send a copy as a Word document or a PDF, and when I do that, it'll automatically open up my email and send this document to whoever I want to send it to. Now, some people will say, what's the difference between a Word document and a PDF? Well, if you're sending if you want to send a document to someone and you do not want to give them the ability to change it, then send it as a PDF. So think of a work situation where you want to send a contract or a proposal. So you're most likely going to send that as a PDF so that they cannot manipulate it. But if you're just sending a document to a friend for them to review, then just send it as a Word document. All right, let's go into the fun elements of inserting pictures, inserting visual elements. So find an open space where you want to send that.
We have a question.
Yes.
How do you get to the share in the Word document? If you could show them that part again.
Sure. You just go up here to the right. There's a button that says share in the upper right. And when I clicked on it, it automatically opened up this dialog box in the middle that then allows me to send a copy via Word or PDF. Is that good?
I don't have any indication yet.
Okay, then we're going to move on to inserting visual elements. So also within the Insert tab, you have the ability to insert, two more. Let's see what they say.
Yep, it looks like you answered his question.
Okay, great. So within the Insert tab, you have the ability to insert pictures, online pictures, shapes, icons, 3D models, smart art, charts, and screenshots. So, sometimes people want to insert, if you have existing pictures that you want to include, like if you're doing a family album, you can easily click on pictures. And if you click on pictures, it'll bring up your own repository of where you have pictures. Mine are here in my personal pictures. But then you also have the ability to search online pictures. So let's say we're getting close to Father's Day. Let's see what see the type of Father's Day. All right, so you want to make a Father's Day. Any number of one that you can choose from. Click. So it's highlighted, and then click Insert. And then you'll see that you've got this picture here, and you'll notice that the picture is surrounded by a border. You can't manipulate any of the words or the pictures in here, or at least I generally don't. But you also have these words down here. I generally don't like these words, so, you know, I know I'm probably illegal by doing that, but I just get rid of that. And then I work on this initial document to manipulate the size that I want. So let's say I want it a little further, so it fills up the screen. But it's covering over some text, but I could see that it was covering over text. And you'll notice that this little blank is where I took out that initial information. But if you highlight it and you click delete, it should go away like it just did. Love it when a plan comes together. And then if you don't like it, you can obviously just, as long as it's highlighted, well, as long as we're here, let's show how, you know, you can rotate it. Don't know exactly why you would. You can. Oh, you can crop it. That's always a good one. So let's say you don't want these borders so much. So click on crop. You want it a little bit smaller. So you can crop it just so it doesn't take as much space, but it still has the meaning that you want. Cropping is actually a pretty cool feature, and I use that frequently when I'm putting family calendars together. Because when you cut and paste like a family picture for a family calendar, sometimes there's a lot of background information, and maybe you just want the picture of you and the family. So you can easily just do that, and that's what you're left with.
We do have a question, wants to know if you can add text inside it says, can you add text to the card? So I'm assuming it means, can you add text in the space where the image is?
Yes. So I'm going to go back to the larger before I did that. You can, I'm going to right click. In this, I'm going to click away because it was on cropping. Now I'm going to insert a caption. It ends it down there. Huh. Let's see if we can put it in here itself. I'm going to Layout Options. Choose how your object interacts with the text around it. So this, let's see. Sometimes you have the ability to behind text. So as you can see, by clicking behind text, you do have the ability to bring up this document that you put in and put it over the text that was already there. So then you have the ability to manipulate the text that you currently have in there. And I think that'll achieve the purpose of one. So I'm going to change can to will. So you can see that you now have the ability to, again, by highlighting this and putting it behind text, that's one way that you can do it. I must admit, Yeah, I don't do a lot of text inside of a box, but there is one way that you can do that.
I think you might be able to also insert a text box and put your text box over the picture and then insert text in that way.
Yes, you are.
I do that in PowerPoint quite a bit.
So what she's referring to is going back to the insert. You can insert a text box. I'm going to draw this text box. I'm just going to type in, "Hi, Dad. Love you." And then again, by using this little icon for the layout options, you can choose whoa, didn't want that one. I guess you can put that in. I'm trying to figure out. I mean, you can manipulate the size of it to make it smaller. I want to see if you can just put it right on. No. I'm just going to fiddle with these. Didn't like that. Through. What would that look like? No. So you can put it in a text box. I'm just trying to get that background coloring. Just
I
not.
think instead of dealing with the text wrapping option, which is what you do, if instead you use something up in your ribbon for the actual background, there should be, if you click in your text box, then
Okay.
it should give you a place where you can tell it you don't want any background, like you don't want the background to be a solid white. You've clicked into the text box. No. Yeah, I'd have to be able to manipulate it, like be able to have it on my computer so I could be manipulating it. I don't know that I'm going to be able to think of how you do it without being able to actually move the cursor around.
All
Is
right.
there a way you can make that background disappear so that the words are sort of floating transparently on top of the picture? Or, yeah, maybe that's only in PowerPoint, and in Word it works slightly differently.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. Yeah, I'm not sure. Sorry about that. Yeah, don't know. You got me on that one. Got me. All right, let's go on. Let's see what we're supposed to cover next. All right, we went over, we did manipulating, we did cropping, colors and fonts. We basically covered that on design. I guess we could show about how watermarks. So let's do some watermarks page borders and then end up with print preview. So I'm going to stop sharing there. All right, so if you're with the document and you want to add some watermarks, from the Design tab, you have the ability over to the far right. I mean, here are the fonts, here's the colors you can manipulate. But if you want to add a watermark, confidential, because this is a confidential Father's Day card, you have the ability to put that back there, or do not copy, or draft, or if you want to make a custom watermark, you can say Glen Ellen Library, and there's your custom watermark right there. And if you want to put page borders on for whatever reason, click on the page borders and it gives you a whole bunch of different options. I think we just need to work on a better document that has the ability to show the different page borders. Not a lot of people work with page borders, and I'm probably not the best at it. So let's go over the final task of print preview. Again, as I said, you can get to print preview either via your keystrokes, Control P, or via File, Print. And when you do that, it's always a great thing to do. It didn't used to have this function, so people would, print documents. They'd print an Excel spreadsheet, and it would go on for pages and pages. Or the borders they didn't like, the borders weren't good, and so they'd have to manipulate it. So the great thing about print preview is you can see what it's going to look like before you print. I know that one thing, so you can see it slightly goes over into 3 pages. You're like, well, maybe I don't need 3 pages. Let's see what I can do about that. One of the cool things, where is it? Well, you have the ability to, print all pages, or just print the selection, or just print the current page. That's very good. Or if you're in a long document, and let's say it's a 20-page document, you can just do a custom print for pages 1 and 2. You can print on one-sided or two-sided, on both sides. Good way to save trees. You can collate it if you would like. Portrait orientation, meaning either portrait or landscape. These types of documents are generally portrait, but when you're working with a PowerPoint presentation, landscape is generally the way to go. Here in the US, our standard letter size 8.5 by 11, so I generally stick with that. You also have the ability from the Print Preview tab to adjust your margins. So here we've got normal margins, but you can quickly choose any other margins that you would like. I generally go normal so I can get as much as I can within the documents. I want to see what it looks like when I hit narrow margins. When I hit narrow margins, you'll see automatically now it's showing 1 of 2. So now it shows that I was able to reduce this down to 2 pages, and I'm happy with that. You also have the ability to scale to the paper size. So again, that's another way that you can do to save paper. If it ended up being a 3-page document just slightly over, it'll just shift it down slightly, so it's just a 2-page document.
We do have a question going back to watermarks, if that's okay.
Yes.
The question is, does the watermark always cover the whole page, or can it apply to only half a page, for example?
You people like asking me, we're going to go into Watermark. We're going to go into Custom Watermark. Looks like you have the ability to put diagonal or horizontal, semi-transparent or not. Let's see what it looks like. Horizontal and semi-transparent clicked off. So I guess with the watermark, it's either going to go all the way across horizontally or all the way across diagonally. I did not see in the custom feature to add it to the top half or just the bottom half of the document. Let's see if there's other ones. More watermarks from office.com. No online content available. Oh, well. So from just our initial, it does not look like you are able to with text. You can adjust the size, but it doesn't look like you can adjust the positioning. All right, folks. So we've covered everything on that document that we were going to cover. Is there anything else you would like to discuss? Anything else you would like me to go over?
I might have figured out how to get the background out of that text box that you were trying to put over that photo. I was fiddling with that a little bit on my computer as you were doing the watermarks. Now, I work on a Mac here at home. I'm not on a PC. But what I was able to do was when I drew my text box and then I wrote into my text box, hold on, let me see which ribbon I'm in. Once I wrote in my text box, it opened up kind of a design ribbon, and part of that was something called shape styles. And under shape styles, I had shape fill. And I could change my shape fill to no fill.
All right.
And then once I was able to change my fill to no fill, then that white background became transparent and the letters just appeared on top of the document itself. Try starting from the beginning. Can you try inserting another text box?
Yes. So I'm going to draw a text box.
Right.
Draw it down here.
Box. Now write the word. And before you do anything else, go to shape styles. It's the second from the left.
Oh, it's under shape formats.
Outlines, shape format. And I think that only shows up when you're actually clicked into like a text. There, shape fill, click in there, and then no fill.
Boom.
There.
Good job, Beth. Outstanding. Learn something new every day.
We do have another question here. Can you use insert a table in Word with one row and one column as a border and place text inside of it?
One column, one row.
Right. So basically it sounds like a way of getting a border around a text, only instead of, so a one column, one row table that you then place text inside of.
All right, so here I am in the one column, one row. I got my various different designs. Let's see, shading. Oh, border styles. No. Here, border styles. All borders. Something like that. So there's a one column, one row, and I went up to borders, and I did all borders.
Right. So I'm guessing then if you make this, if you put enough text inside of this to open it up as if it's the whole page, I'm guessing, Arnold, that this is what you're talking about, that you then make this be the border around your page. Is that correct? Yes, he said that's correct. So basically he's using this as an alternate way of putting a border around a page.
Ah, well, you should be able to do a border around a page. So let's try to figure that out. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing so I can see my search screen up here. Let me do some fiddling real quick. All right, we're going to try this. We've got this document here. Where do we have? We had design. Page borders. We want to apply to the whole document. So there, we've just added a border around the entire document, page by page. So you went anywhere in the document, you clicked on page borders in the upper right within the design tab and ribbon.
We can't see that. We're seeing you right now.
Oh, got it, got it. Thank you. Okay, then hold on, let me clear that. Okay, going back to sharing my screen. Okay, so the way we would like to apply a border to the entire document, click anywhere within the document, and then within the Design tab, all the way over to the right, click on Page Borders, and then you can apply. I clicked on 3D border. I made sure that the whole document, as opposed to just a paragraph or a page or a section, so the entire document, and I clicked on OK. Then now you'll see that you've got a page border across the entire document, page by page. Is that what you were looking for, Arnold? I'm assuming that that's...
Yes, he says yes.
Okay. All right, folks, what else do we want to cover? If there's nothing else, then, thank you very much for attending Word Intermediate tonight. Greatly appreciate your presence. Feel free to reach out to myself or Beth if you have future questions. And we look forward to seeing you live in the library once we hit, hopefully, phase 4 maybe.
Phase 4, we're definitely looking forward to it. Yeah, thanks very much, Bill, and thanks to those of you who attended, and thanks very much for those of you who participated by asking questions. So that makes it a lot easier for us to know what you guys want. So thanks, Bill, and thanks everybody, and everybody have a good night.
Thank you, folks. Take care.